Good morning. Eliah Drinkwitz was named the University of Missouri's 33rd head coach of the football program in December 2019. In 5 seasons, he's won more than 60% of his games while earning 2023 SEC Coach of the Year honors. Eli's coached in 12 bowl games, mentored 55 student athletes to all conference honors, developed 7 All-Americans, and worked with 19 NFL draft picks. He broke Dan Devine's school record for most wins in the first 5 seasons as a Missouri head football coach, and he already ranks tied for 6th all-time in program wins. He and his wife have 4 daughters and spent time this spring and summer helping coach his daughter's softball team. I'm told the press conferences after each softball game were interesting. In May, he took coaches and players to Harmon's, Jamaica for a service trip, built a house, built a foundation for a future home, and built an addition to the Harmon's Health Center. Among his travel this year, and I noted this on social media, he and his wife, Lindsay, spent time at the Kentucky Derby, so you can ask him about his success attending that event. Welcome to the podium, the head coach of the University of Missouri, Eliah Drinkwitz.
Well, we got the right fight song. It's improvement. Reminds me a little bit of Disney. Just got back from Disney with the family. And I was going to say that fight song reminded me of Disney because they play it. If you didn't know that Walt Disney was born in Marceline, Missouri. But really, y'all remind me a little bit of Disney World. Tired, ready to go home. Tired of coaches whining up here. So, good morning to everyone. You know, I was very excited about the opportunity to come to SEC Media Days, which marks the end of vacation season, which is one of the 2 main reasons that I coach college football, free gear and vacations. And now it's on to football season. And based on what I've heard from the rest of the SEC coaches, it looks to be a really, really exciting upcoming football season and incredibly tough competition throughout. I was sent a text message the other day by one of my good friends that said, "What a privilege it is to be exhausted by a challenge you choose for yourself." And that's something I think about a lot when we talk about college football and college athletics. We choose to do this. I'm blessed to be the head football coach and incredibly proud of the opportunity to serve the great state of Missouri as the head football coach of the University of Missouri. To represent the 6 million people who live in our state, it's an incredible privilege and opportunity. Very appreciative of the support of our board of curators led by chairman of the board, Todd Graves. We got an incredible leader and president and chancellor and Dr. Moon Choi. Our athletic director, Laird Veach, empowers us to be the best football program that we can be, and it's just an honor and a privilege for our family to call Missouri home, and we're blessed to be here. I'm really proud of the football team we will field this fall. You know, we've got 38 new scholarship players. 21 of them came from the transfer portal, 17 from high school. And so, you know, we've built a roster to compete this season. We valued production over potential, and we have 20 players on the defensive side of the ball who have started more than 1 game in their college career. We've got 12 players on offense who have multiple starts in their collegiate career, and then we've got 3 on special teams. Our 3 representatives today have 85 combined starts among them, and that's Connor Tollison, Dalen Carnell, and Zion Young. Those guys, Commissioner Sankey mentioned it, you know, those 3 young men are juniors and seniors, 41 of them, 41 of our players and 15 staff members. We went on a service trip to the mountains of Jamaica in May. We are blessed to be a blessing, and that's something that as a program we want to live by. We want to use the platform and the opportunities that we have to impact and empower communities. We wanted to go and serve, and that's exactly what we did. We spent 4 days building a home, building a bathroom, repairing 3 roofs, adding a room to the medical center there. We built a home for a single mother with 3 kids, and it was an awesome opportunity to spread hope throughout the community of Harmons. You know, they didn't care that we were football players. There was one night where we got to spend, we divided up into groups of 3 and 4, and we went and had meals in people's homes to get to know the community. And they had no idea, really, when we talked about football, they thought we were talking about soccer. They didn't care about Americana football. What they cared is that we cared about being an impact to their community. And it was something that was really eye-opening. They just appreciated enough that we would show up. We wanted to have an impact on them, but in truth, they had more of an impact on us. And I don't know, maybe it was the lack of air conditioning. Maybe it was the 1 2-minute cold shower that you could have. Maybe it was trying to put 41 guys in bunk beds. Maybe it was the fact that water is very scarce in Harmons and that most people don't actually have running water in that community. But it changed us, and it made us different, and it made us realize that we're very thankful for the opportunities that we have. I'm very thankful to be at the head football coach at the University of Missouri. I'm very thankful for the ability to do this, and I know our players are too. So with that, I know there's a lot of burning questions in this room by the 14 of y'all that showed up. But just as a reminder, I'm not going to answer any questions about the Epstein files, whether about the radiation belt, and whether or not it was possible for Lee Harvey Oswald to get 3 shots off in 7 seconds. I don't have time to answer all those questions. But I will answer questions about Mizzou football. And I would be remiss if I didn't say Bob Holt was a graduate of the Missouri School of Journalism, and we miss him today, and we think about him often. And so with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Coach, we'll try to find some questions on some other topics over here. So Molly Ann, Holly, Olivia have microphones. Coach, we'll start right here in the center aisle.
Hey Coach, Emily Grace McWhorter from The Next Round. You shared with local media that you expect Sam Horn to remain with your team despite being drafted by the Dodgers this past Monday.
Yeah.
Can you share what y'all's conversations were this past week kind of leading up to this and what the game plan was for you guys?
Yeah. First off, congratulations to Sam, Jim, and Beth. What an awesome accomplishment, awesome opportunity for that young man to be that good of an athlete, to be able to play. I think he threw 15 innings this year and really had an outstanding season. We're so proud of him to be able to compete in 2 sports. But Sam has been adamant this whole time that his goal is to compete to try to win the job in the SEC and play quarterback at the highest level. I've had conversation with his representatives in whether that was last year as he was going through his Tommy John's surgery or the rehab process going through spring, and that really hasn't changed. We had discussed it. Sam had relayed the message. His agent had relayed the message to all the baseball organizations that he was going to play football this fall, and so nothing's changed. I called him the day of the draft to make sure he was having a draft party. I called him after he got drafted, and I told him, you know, the day he got drafted, was proud of him, and I'd see him at 6:30 at workouts in the morning.
Which will go in the section straight in front of me in the 3rd row.
Morning, Coach. Nick Eliza from KCOU in Columbia. You just mentioned it a couple minutes ago, 21 transfers you brought in. How do you create a culture and a chemistry with such roster turnover, especially among the upperclassmen?
Yeah, I think that was part of the reason we decided to take the mission trip to Harmons. Nothing creates cohesion and builds trust and respect like shared adversity and putting people in adverse situations and see how they'll respond. There's really nothing more adverse than putting 300-pound offensive linemen, defensive linemen in the SEC in bunk beds with no air conditioning. And so, you know, I think that was one of the ways. Obviously, our strength coach, Ryan Russell, our Elite Edge program on the first floor is a conduit of our culture and continually teaches and preaches that. And then, you know, you've got guys like Connor Tollison and Dalen Carnell who've been here their entire careers. They know what it looks like. They know what the standards are and what to uphold them to. And I think our staff combined with our strength staff and then, again, shared adversity helps create cohesion.
Coach, we're going to go right down here on our front right.
Coach, J.D. Zaza, WVUA 23. This year, Missouri gets to renew a rivalry with Kansas. You get them at home this year. How excited are you as Missouri and the fans of Missouri to renew that rivalry with Kansas?
Yeah, I think rivalries are a great thing for college athletics and college football, particularly, especially regional rivalries. This one goes back a long ways. The origins of our football name, the Tigers, is based off the militia that was formed to protect Columbia from people from Kansas and the Kansas area. So, this is something that goes back a long way. It's very deep, and it's something that our team is very keenly aware of. We understand the implications, the importance to our state, and look forward to playing that game, especially having it at home.
Coach, we'll go down the center aisle. Drew.
Coach Drew DeArmond, WCCN Radio, Huntsville, Alabama. I wanted to talk about one of your transfer portal additions, and you talked about production. Early in his career, especially at Arkansas, is one of the best, I think, safeties in the country. Talk about adding Jalen Catalon. What does he bring to Corey Batoon's defense, and what kind of impact could he make for you as an experienced player?
Yeah, Jalen Catalon's a guy that played against us in 2020 during COVID year. He didn't play in the first half because of a targeting penalty, and man, he came on and was an elite player, and has been an elite player for a long time. Coach Saban, all summer, he calls and does scouting reports with all the head coaches, not to get back into coaching, just want to clear that up for Greg McElroy, but he does that to make sure he has an edge on the competition. And the first person he asked about was Jalen Catalon, because he said, man, that guy's played a lot of really good football at a high level. And you could see that in the spring, the instinctual, he's got great instincts. He understands, diagnoses what offenses are trying to do. He's got a knack for finding the football in the air. He's really good at blitzing. We play a lot of single high defense and use that safety to insert, which is something that Jalen can really do. And we're very excited about what he brings to that room. We lost a lot of career starts with Joseph Charleston, and so we needed somebody in that back end. Communication is so vital in that position, and so very, very proud and excited about JC and what he's going to bring to our football team. He's been awesome. Got a chance really there were several days I got to work specifically with him in Harmons, and man, that guy is a workhorse. Just set the tone all day. One of the days we had to make concrete, and the toughest job is you're in the house. We'll put all the cement in there, and we have to you have to bucket water up there and throw it, and he's in there just stirring it. And most of the time people do that for 30 minutes and they have to tap out. He did it for 6 straight hours, and he's incredibly tough, and very proud of him.
Coach, we'll go over here to our left, second row. Tom.
Hey, Coach. Tom Murphy, Arkansas Democrat Gazette.
Hey, Tom.
Thanks for the words about Bob.
Yeah.
You mentioned during your opening about coaches whining up here.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that's about transfer portal, caps, or what? And if not,
No.
what was it about?
No, it's not. It wasn't here. It's just in general. I just go back to, again, what a privilege it is to be exhausted by a challenge you choose for yourself. We all choose to coach here. We all choose.
Those topics, though.
They are what they are. Since I've been in college football, we've had COVID, NIL, transfer portal, 8 or 9 game schedule. We've been debating that for 5 years. So, it is what it is.
Coach, we're going to go on this near aisle, Barry.
Yeah, Barry Trammell, Tulsa World. The SEC, 15 years, won a bunch of national titles. Everybody in the league seemed to benefit from that. Now the Big Ten's won 2 in a row. How important is it for the SEC to get back to the top?
Define the top as in number of draft picks in the NFL, top is in most viewership, top is in overall, top is the deepest conference in college football. Yeah, we haven't been. I heard that last night. Well, they haven't won the national championship in the last 2 years. I don't know, what was it, the previous 10, 14? So look, the more teams you add to the tournament, there's greater variance to it. I don't necessarily think that we're that far off. I don't think that there's any more pressure. You've got 16 of the toughest competitors in the world who are head coaches in this league. We're all driven to achieve the best, whether that's internally or externally. We feel pressure to achieve that, but there's no pressure because, oh, we got to do it for the SEC. We want to do it for our team, our players, our fans. So.
Coach, we'll go over here to the left section. We'll start right up here in the fourth row. Go ahead.
Coach, Ryan Shapiro, Texas Sport Network. Can you tell me a little bit about the quarterback battle going on this offseason between Prabula and Sam Horn?
Yeah, we got three quarterbacks, all a little bit different, all with some very good strengths. Obviously, Sam Horn's a guy who's been in our system for a long time, dual threat player, obviously plays baseball at a high level, is coming back from Tommy John surgery. I thought he had an outstanding bowl prep as he was rehabbing that and really a really good spring, and has really excelled in his maturation. One thing most people don't know about Sam, he's a type 1 diabetic. And so he's been able to, since he's been in college, been able to learn to adapt and train and develop and adjust. And he's really done a lot of good things, understands the system. Bo came in with the right mindset, nothing given, everything earned, works extremely hard, developing his craft. He's a guy who spends a lot of extra time up there, has a chip on his shoulder, the right kind of chip, does a really good job leadership-wise. He was a guy that I got to work with a couple of days at Harmon's, and I'm just impressed with his ability to connect with our team. You know, Matt Zollers, he throws it as well as any quarterback I've ever seen. He's coming back from an ankle surgery. You can tell he's adjusting to the speed of college football, but very excited about that room, and know whoever ends up emerging as the quarterback is going to be in a really good position, because he doesn't have to do it all by himself. He's going to have a really good defense. He's got a great supporting cast around him.
Okay, we're going to go to the back of this left section over towards that.
Coach Chris Marler, LouisianaSports.net. You've had a back finish in the top 5 in the conference in rushing yards in 4 of the last 5 years. So what are the expectations and what is the ceiling for Ahmad Hardy this year? And also, I know we brought up the Kansas game earlier and how excited you are for it. That morning, what's going to be the go-to flavor of Celsius that you open to get the day started?
Yeah, I'm kind of off Celsius right now, so it'd definitely be a Diet Mountain Dew, cup of coffee, and then we'll see what the day brings. Ahmad Hardy, man, what a great young man. You know, I think one of the coolest things about him is I knew Brian Vincent. Brian and I have a relationship dating back to our time when I was at App State and he was at UAB and learning the outside zone. So it was awesome to be able to call him and say, okay, what are his strengths, what are his weaknesses, what's his feel for this scheme, and what could not be any more complimentary of Ahmad Hardy. And, you know, Ahmad's just, he's an outstanding young man. He's a heck of a horseman. Dude loves horses, rides horses. Has gotten Kevin Coleman on the back of a couple of horses. He loves to go fish. Him and Santana Banner go fishing all the time. In fact, went fishing in the community pond there in Bluff Creek. Had to apologize to my homeowners association about that, but they caught a lot of fish. So, you know, really excited about that young man. He's got great burst, understands the scheme and how to run it. So very proud of him.
Coach, we'll go near aisle 4th row. Pat.
Pat 40, Sports Illustrated.
Missouri journalism grad.
There you go. Since it's only been 5 years of your time talking about 8 versus 9, where do you stand on that, and what do you think of a 5+11, a potential playoff format?
Needed something to talk about, huh, Pat? I'll start with the 12, 14, 16 playoff, whatever. This is not going to do me any favors with our commissioner. You know, when I think about college football right now and think about what do we need to do, I think it really comes down to 2 things: what's best for our players and what's best for our fans. The rest of us are really only important because of the players and the fans. And so when you think about whether it's 12, 14, or 16, you know, to me, we've decided to go into this expansion of playoffs, and we're trying to follow an NFL model. Well, the NFL takes 44% of their teams in order into the playoffs to increase the passion or keep the fan base engaged. If we're talking about 12, that's 9%. If we're talking about 14, that's 11%. If we're talking about 16, that's 12%. That's really not changing the math for the fan base. So I really don't understand what the big fight is about. The other thing I don't really understand about this, we have a lot of complaints. Whether we're talking about 68 teams in the NCAA basketball tournament, we're complaining about the committee. And now, last year we complained about the committee selections. I mean, we produced all kinds of stats and handed them out about why the SEC was so good. Well, the problem is we have a human committee that has no standard set of structure of how they're going to select. They're all human beings. They all have implicit bias. So now we're going to go from 7 to 11, and we think that's going to solve the problem. Until we figure out what exactly the standards are, I don't think that's good. In my viewpoint of it, I think we should go back and try to find more ways to include teams. How do we get more people involved? Because that's better for the players. That's better for the player experience to have more people involved in the potential to play for a championship. And it's better for the fan bases. I think we all would agree that the 4 college football playoff games at home campuses was a huge win for college football. We need to expand that opportunity, that energy and excitement. So my math could be wrong here, but if we did the 12, okay, and you had 4 automatic qualifiers. Everybody thinks that's limiting. It's not limiting if you think about it from, you take those 4 automatic qualifiers and you divide that up into 8 opportunities of 8 play-in games. So now you're taking the SEC's playing in for 8, you're taking the Big Ten's playing in for 8. Since we've expanded the bubble to 16, give 3 to the 3 to the Big 12, 3 to the ACC, 1. Now you've got 30 teams. 30 teams. Now we're talking about an opportunity for 30 teams, 30 fan bases to be excited and engaged in giving revenue. Got 30 teams with players who have access to compete for a championship. And so for me, I think that makes a lot more sense. Again, when you're talking about the NFL playoff system, not only is it 14 teams, but you only have to be the best out of your 4-team division. So you got to compete against 4 teams in order to make the playoffs. Again, when you're at the University of Missouri, if you say, hey, you just have to finish in the top 8 to have a chance to play in the playoffs, that's a win every day. And I'm all for that. I think that's awesome. 8 versus 9, honestly, I think I've been for the 9 game. I think if it was about players and about fans, I think it's a 9-game schedule for the SEC. If it's about coach preservation, which, hey man, I get it, but if we're going to go to 11 humans deciding on a committee which are the 11 best teams, and we stay at 8, we ain't getting in.
Right, Coach.
There you go, Pat. There you go.
Coach, we'll go over the left-hand side on the far aisle.
Connor O'Gara, Saturday Down South. Eli, I know Bo recruiting him had to be a really unique experience for you, how aggressive you had to be. His sample size is so unique. He only had 4 passes that were 20 yards downfield last year. Can you take us through the process of evaluating him as a passer? And if you don't want to answer that, I'd love your take on Lee Harvey Oswald.
I don't even know much about the JFK deal. I was literally at breakfast yesterday, and Rick Jones brought that up. I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about, Rick. Yeah, Bo Pribula. When we first talk about recruits, it's all about the right fit for us, focused, intangibles, talented, and tough. And when you talk about the quarterback position, there's 5 specific traits that we're looking for. Bo had those traits. And then as a program, and as an offense, you have to design to a quarterback's strength. I don't think, when you watch the tape, there's not an inability for Bo to throw. He just didn't quite have the opportunities. And I would say after this spring, I'm as confident as ever that Bo Pribula is a very talented passer. So I don't really have any reservations about that. Obviously, when you're recruiting out of the portal, it does happen fast. And, if you have somebody on campus, you have to close them pretty quickly. Bo, I will give a lot of credit to Bo and his maturity. He had a process that he wanted to go through. He wanted to see 3 different schools and then make a decision. And so, we made an impression. Quick story about Bo. We went and ate dinner that night. I drove him back to the hotel, dropped him off. You know, we sat in the deal and talked for about 20 minutes. I dropped him off, and I looked, and he walked in, walked around. I dropped him off at the wrong hotel. So he had to come back out and get in the car. We had to go to the other one in town. So I'm not sure how much he thinks about my intelligence level, but it was good enough to get him to come play for us.
Coach, we're going to go back over here to our right-hand side.
What's up, Coach? Zach Sweet, Columbia, Missourian. You guys have won 21 games over the last 2 years, but nationally it seems like you might not have the respect as other SEC teams. I'm curious what goes into that, and if you could talk a little bit about something to prove mindset that you embraced in 2023.
Yeah, I kind of addressed this earlier with SEC this morning. You know, if you get caught up, you know, Coach Saban calls it rat poison. I think it's rat poison either way. Praise and blame are both the same. You really can't care about it either way. You know, we have a something to prove mindset. There's all of us, you know, whether you're talking about our coaching staff or players, we all have a little bit of a chip on our shoulder. But at the end of the day, in the fourth quarter, 2-minute drive, that's not what you think about. You think about your trust and belief in each other. You think about doing your job at a higher level. So you can use it as temporary motivation, but in the key moments, it's really more about your belief in each other. And that really is what drives us. It's our belief in our brotherhood. It's our belief in our Elite Edge program. It's our belief in our always compete mentality. It's the development of trust and respect that we have with each other. It's having fun while we're doing this. That really drives us in our success. And so other people's opinions, you know, somebody asked me what the difference was over my 5 years being here. You know, in the first couple of years, I really cared what y'all thought about me. Now I really don't. I don't care. You know, I'm here to represent my family, my wife and my 4 beautiful daughters. I'm here to represent the University of Missouri and make our football team proud. And outside of that, I really don't care what anybody else thinks.
We have time for a couple more. We're going to start here about 5 rows back left.
Hey, Eli, Alex Miller from the Bryan College Station Eagle.
Yeah.
Do you have any conspiracy theories about Missouri football that you've debunked or are debunking?
What's that sign? There's no conspiracy theories, but there's also no such thing as coincidences. So there you go.
Okay, we'll stay over here in the left section, about 3/4 of the way back.
Harold
Thompson, SEC Unfiltered. You guys have 6 games at home. You don't leave the state of Missouri until October 18th.
Yep.
So many new players and transfer portal additions being added on in and new starters. How important is it for you guys to have that time to build the chemistry at home before you have to go play at Auburn, in Norman, and on the road to Fayetteville?
Yeah, we play at Nashville too, and with Diego Pavia, that ain't no joke. So let's make sure we give those guys the respect that Clark deserves for sure, and the program he's built. But yeah, you know, appreciate Mark Womack helping us with that first 6 games at home there. Obviously, it gives a new quarterback an opportunity to settle in a friendly environment. And obviously, we've played pretty well at home. Our fans have done an incredible job since we've been there and developing that as a really home field advantage for us, and very appreciative of their support and believing in us. And obviously, when you turn us on TV, you're going to see a $250 million North End Zone complex that's being put up daily, and appreciate the work they've done there. You know, the challenge for us, I didn't feel like last year, I feel like I let our team down by being unprepared to go to Texas A&M on the road. We were not, you know, with the adjustment of the transfer portal and players, I don't think they understood the routine and what it was going to be, and we were a step slow in just about everything we did, starting with me in the decision-making processes and our players. So we're going to have to do a good job in fall camp of making sure we're ready when the opportunity does to go on the road, make sure our players understand what that routine is going to look like. And so we've actually built something into our fall camp training plans to replicate and simulate a road game for 48 hours. And so we're going to do a really good job of embracing playing at home for the first 6, but also making sure we're prepared for that opportunity when we go to Jordan-Hare.
Coach, we're going to take one final question in the very back of
Make it good. Make it good.
Coach Rob Brown, SEC Sideline Sports Network, Memphis. We're Cardinals town. You've got that Cardinals nation. I've asked you about this before. You're building tremendous facilities at your football stadium.
Yep.
Nobody's asked about that, but y'all put maybe close to $200 million.
$250.
That's a big deal. Let's talk about that. That's a serious commitment from Missouri. Says a lot about where your program's going, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's why I started off by thanking the 6 million residents of the state of Missouri, by thanking Todd Graves, past chair Robin Winokur, Bob Blitz, Jeff Lehman, Michael Williams, you know, a lot of different people, President Choi, a lot of big-time boosters. When you're talking about Richard Miller, Mike Campeter, Steve Trulast, you're talking about the Bukowski brothers, you're talking about Jeff and Kara Cannon, you're talking about a lot of people who have committed a lot of resources to our university and believe. The Stevens family. You know, since we've been there, we've invested in a brand new indoor facility. We've invested in a $250 million North End Zone project. They've invested in a weight room reconstruction, a new grass fields. So they've done a lot to enhance the program and give us the ability to compete and attract talent, and that's what we've really tried to do. And now it's, you know, again, I've put the pressure on our coaching staff this year. It's really about coaching. We as a coaching staff need to take on the ownership of this year's team and about getting the best out of these guys, because we have a lot of talent, we have a lot of depth, but we got to bring it together and we got to bring the most out of them. So appreciate all y'all. Appreciate y'all late scragglers that got in here and filled up the room, and hope y'all finish strong today. MIZ.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you for your time.